Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to another edition of the Your Trip is Short podcast. I'm your host, Eric Lucier. This has to be some sort of record. 2 days in a row, December 2nd, 2022. Been quite some time since I've done an episode back-to-back days. But if you caught yesterday's musical Advent Day number 1, you know there's a reason I want to bring to you 24 gifts of music, December 2022. And so, of course, day 2 would be your second day of music. And I've done this before. That was 2020? Hard to believe it's been 2 years, but I was really knee deep in the podcast back then. 2021 and 2022 really found me falling away from it. 2021 sporadic episodes, 2022 almost none, and really no good reason, I guess. Once the diagnosis hit and I was starting to feel better, I had no good excuse. Just had a hard time finding new music and new messages to share, and that was always part of Your Trip is Short, is having a quick daily message and then having some music to share, and struggled through finding music in 2022. And even though my Spotify Wrapped came the other day, it reminded me I'm listening to a lot of the same old, same old. Basically, the Beatles are in there, and Sturgill Simpson, once again, of course, his Cutting Grass releases dominated my Spotify Wrapped in 2021. But there was a few new discoveries as well, including Mac Miller and Zach Bryan for me. Of course, Zach Bryan, a newer artist. Mac Miller, certainly not to many of you, but he was to me. And just over the last couple of months, went knee deep into Mac Miller and really just enjoyed everything I heard from him. So it's kind of hard to throw down an artist like that in my musical advent. I'm really struggling to find artists that I have not listened to before 2022 and those that you have not listened to either. And today's artist is one that quite literally stopped me in my tracks when she started singing, and I had to grab my phone and find out, who in the world am I listening to? And not many artists caught my ear like that this year, but Bella White was certainly one of them. And first thing I did was, once I discovered who it was shared it with some friends. That's what I like to do with music. And I sent it on to Andy James and Troy Millette, and they both agreed that, yeah, she is quite something. So that's the artist that we're going to do today. And a quick little bit about Bella White for those that have not heard of her. She was actually born and raised in Canada, Calgary, Alberta, and has been in the States for a handful of years now, but she is mighty young, really only 20 couple years old. July 15th, 2000, she was born, so only 22 years old, and is one of those artists that has just a unique voice, kind of singing some old Appalachia sounds. Um, Great fiddle player as well, sort of some modern bluegrass, if you will. And her whole album is worthy of listening to start to finish. And really, she only has a handful of songs out. So we're going to be playing quite a few of them here on the Musical Advent Day number 2. And something that I did yesterday with Drayton Farley and Day 1 is I put this introduction on YouTube and then all 10 songs immediately behind it on a playlist. So I'm going to be doing that as well. So that way, if you don't have Spotify Premium, you can still listen to all of the tracks. And that will be in the show notes here on Anchor and Spotify. So that's a way for everybody to be able to listen to this. So I'm not really going to blabber much longer about Bella White, other than hoping that you enjoy her as much as I do. I'm just reading now that in 2020, when she moved to Nashville, her debut album, Just Like Leaving, which we're going to be hearing a lot of tracks from, was actually recorded in March 2020 at Guilford Sound here in Vermont. So that's a new one for me, just discovering that now on everybodywiki.com for Bella White. So we'll have of course, a link to her website and some of her social media channels as well. Definitely encourage you to check out her stuff if you enjoy it as much as I do. A real haunting sound from Bella White. And my gift to you on day number 2 of this musical advent, December 2nd, 2022. Yourtripisshortradio.com is the website, some links to Anchor and Spotify, and also put a link to my YouTube channel where you can find the playlists for this musical advents as well. Yourtripisshortradio.com. So thank you very much for tuning in. I hope your December is starting off well. You're looking forward to this holiday season. Everyone around you, including yourself, is healthy mentally and otherwise. I'm your host, Eric Lucier. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy Bella White on this musical advent, day 2. Your trip is short.